Hello everybody, Robin here at Toadstool Tarot, and I am doing a video response to one that I saw on Kelly Bear's channel, and it was created by Starlight the Wild Witch. It's called My Magical YouTube Journey, and it's quite a number of questions. Before I get started, I thought I'd show you my Juno Birch merch t-shirt that I got when I went to see her during her US tour. This is actually, I think, from the previous year's tour, but it's a stunning shirt, absolutely stunning. And she's my favorite drag queen, my favorite blue alien 60s housewife drag queen, the best drag queen on Earth or any other planet as far as I'm concerned. I just became a fan this year. She's been around several years, and I just discovered her about 3 months ago. I also got this wonderful, absolutely stunning fan, which is one of her tag phrases, her catchphrases. Anyway, let's get on with, and she's on a U.S. tour at the moment, and should be in the Southwest, heading to California this week. So if she's in your area, grab a ticket. Absolutely go see her. The tag questions are, I have typed them up here, so let me go through. The first one is, what is your channel name and the significance behind it? The channel name was sort of accidental. At some point I decided I wanted a channel, and I got advised to not use my own name, but to come up with a new name by way of creating an email account under that name, that separate name. And when I went to Gmail and tried to open a second account, a free account, I tried any number of word combinations, different names, and they were all taken. And then I happened to pick up near my bedside table a copy of a book that I wrote of fairy tales, and on the back cover, there was an image of an elf sitting on top of a toadstool, and another elf who had fallen sitting underneath the toadstool. And I just typed in Toadstool Tarot, just not even thinking about it being a name of a channel, but just I had been so frustrated by so many names not being accepted. All of a sudden, this one was, and it stuck, and I was stuck with it. And then after I had established it, I thought, well, it's not really such a bad name. I'm more into the idea of sort of fantastical fairy tale imagery of fairy folk and toadstools than I am, say, a mushroom collector or something. But anyway, it's kind of intriguing. Toadstools seem like a magical thing related to the magical realms and worlds of tarot and other sort of esoteric, sort of folklorish studies. So that's how I got that name. Number 2, what type of content do you create on your channel? It's a little different. It started off, I wanted to be a shopper's helper kind of channel where I would do sort of reviews or walkthroughs or flip-throughs of tarot decks that I was collecting in order to share the imagery with other people who might be interested in finding these same decks but were reluctant because they couldn't see the images. Here in New York City, of all places, you go into a metaphysical shop and they have a wide array of tarot, but you can't see the cards. They're all shrink wrapped. So there's a need for some way that you can see the cards. I can see why they don't have open decks, because there'd be cards stolen, misplaced, messed up all over the place. But there's still a need to be able to see before you shop. So that's what I decided to do, and I did that for a while. And then I decided I was buying decks not so much because I wanted them, but because I needed content for my channel. And so I stopped, and I started trying to do other things like some readings, some practice readings, just discussion on things, tarot or other little oddities, and other manner of divination, just whatever kind of struck my interest. And lately I've been really interested in doing video responses like these, because when you're at a lack or loss for content, they supply questions you can respond to. So, number 3, what inspired you to start your channel? Well, like I said, I wanted to see decks that I might want to buy, and I started finding them on YouTube channels. And then I thought, oh, well, let me express my interests or observations on the cards in the deck, aside from just showing the cards, things that I find pros and cons about decks and the artwork. And it sort of started because I had seen a number of channels, but some were just flip-throughs or walkthroughs, and then others had actual editorial content. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. People are sharing their own ideas about tarot. And so I decided maybe I'll do that too. And I actually reached out to Simon at the Hermit's Cave for advice on how to start my own channel, and he wrote me back and gave me some advice, and I went ahead. Number 4, how long have you been on YouTube as a content creator? I just celebrated my 4th anniversary in July, and so 4 years. What are your hobbies outside of your channel? I write. I'm a creative writer, and I attend or host a couple of creative writing workshops. And I also am interested in all kinds of esoteric things and mystical unanswered questions, oddities and supernatural things and stuff like that. I'm also a big collector of musical instruments, and even though I don't have any formal training, I do putter around on a wide menagerie of instruments. Since 2000, I've been collecting almost exclusively acoustic instruments of various kinds, some sort of ancient ones to contemporary reinventions, but pretty much moved away from electronics as of the Y2K scare in 2000. It just sort of changed the direction I was going from electronic keyboards, to things like harps and lyres and thumb pianos and so on and so forth. Number 6, is there a new style of content that you want to try? I'm not sure. I haven't thought much about it. If something comes up that appeals to me, I'm willing to give it a try. Number 7, how do you plan out your content? I used to have regularly scheduled live casts once a month, And then I found I was getting a little bit of burnout and pressure to do things when I wasn't particularly inspired or in the mood or didn't know what to talk about. And so I stopped those, and now I plan them. I don't plan them out so much. As if something I feel passionate about occurs to me, I go ahead and I record something, or I do a live if I want to share content with chatters, in a live chat commentary, rolling commentary. And occasionally have guests on, and we have dialogues or sort of interview type things. But yeah, I don't do anything with any pre-scheduled regularity anymore. A lot of it is just whenever the mood strikes me, and I think that's how I've kept my channel alive, because a lot of people do experience burnout. Number 8, what are your tools of the trade? Example, cameras, mics, lighting. Okay, my channel is a lo-fi warts and all channel. I have a Mac laptop with a built-in camera and built-in microphone, and I just use the built-in software called Photo Booth. Now, about a year or 2 into my channel, I did acquire an iPhone, and sometimes I do top-down walkthroughs with my iPhone camera because the imagery is a little sharper. So I used to just do them and hold it up in front of the screen, and it's not the sharpest focus. So I do that. I don't yet have any complicated setup. Would love to be able to set up something where I can both be on screen and then having a second camera top down so I can show cards and see me, whatever. But I don't really know how to set that up. I'm not very good with technology, actually. And I love the fact that this built-in free software on a Mac made it available for me or anybody else that doesn't know what they're doing to do. It's very easy. The most complicated hardware that I bought are a sort of a gooseneck iPhone holder that I can clamp onto the edge of a table, and so that I can do top-down video, and a small gooseneck lamp. I did buy a little tiny ring light that didn't work very well. So yeah, I just pretty much go with a $14 lamp, and I think it was about the same fee for this gooseneck clamp for my phone. And I shoot stuff sitting on the edge of my bed or on a TV tray on my lap, serving tray. So that's the extent of my technology, proving anybody can do it. Number 9, as a content creator, do you experience burnout? If so, what does that look like for you, and how do you recover from it? Well, as I said, I think about a year into it, maybe 2 years into it, I did feel a sense of burnout. Topics were coming up in the community that got combative, I thought, and also I felt the pressure to go on when I wasn't in the mood, or I'd schedule something and be excited about it, and then the time came around, the time frame for the live broadcast, and I just wasn't into it. So I decided, maybe I'd take some time off. And I don't think I took more than a few weeks off, and then I thought, well, why do I care about that? Do what you do, enjoy what you enjoy, have fun while it's fun. If it's not fun, don't do it, and that doesn't mean don't do it ever again, but change your way of approaching it. So I continued to do it, but only when I feel like popping online to do something, like now. Let's see. Number 10, which video are you most proud of and why? I haven't looked at the diagnostics in a while to see which ones have gotten the most viewings, but probably those are popular and I like those. I think I like the ones where I am able to teach something or to share something with some. For instance, the sharing the idea that anybody can do a YouTube channel, that you don't need all the bells and whistles, you don't need to do special editing, you don't need photographic tricks to do a channel. I'm not getting down on people that go to the extent to do all that stuff. That's great if you're inclined to do it and you can do it, but it can be as simple as popping open your laptop and hitting the record button in Photo Booth. And then when you're done, you pop it into YouTube and you go through a series of prompts there that ask you questions like, what's the title of your video, description of the video, who's it for, is it, adults or open to all ages, simple things like that. So, so I like that. I also wanted to encourage, at some point, maybe a year or two into my channel, I had decided to try to create my own tarot deck. It's something I had thought about for a while, seeing this wide diversity of different types of decks and styles and abilities, and I thought, this is really great. For me, it was a big learning experience, and I created my first deck in 4 hours, in one day. 4 hours and maybe a couple of hours of tweaking. But I hand drew these images in less than a day. It was a majors deck, so it was only 22 images, but still, that's saying something, I think, for somebody to create a deck in one day. It often takes people months or years to create a deck. And, granted, my deck was very rudimentary, but I think it's a very effective deck, and I almost feel like I channeled it. It came so quickly and easily after procrastinating for a year and a half. One Sunday morning, I just felt inclined to sit down with a deck of large index cards and a watercolor pencil and a brush and some water and did it. And I wanted to show people after that it doesn't take very much talent. It takes a little bit of planning, and it's very easy to do, even if you feel like you're not an artist or you don't have talent. It's mostly about communication. So tarot is a system that you can learn about, and you also can teach and inspire others to do the same, and you learn a great deal by going through the process of creation. So I'm proud of those things where I'm able to spread simple knowledge to people that are overwhelmed or feel like they have no voice or they can't do it. I'm proud of that, to be able to say, you can make a channel too, or you can make a deck too. It's not that daunting. Number 11, who inspires you within the magical pagan YouTube community? Well, I started off being inspired by several people. One of them I fell out of favor with and was blocked from her channel. And so I no longer am connected there, so I won't mention her name. But the other two were Simon of the Hermit's Cave and Sandra, at that time, of the Whispering Well. She's now under Spirit of Avalon. So those two channels were very inspiring to me and encouraging. Number 12, are there any channels you would recommend? I'd recommend those. Let me think. Benabel Wen has a channel that's highly educational and informational. Let me think. There are a number of very friendly channels. I feel like maybe a few too many of them do readings, which is okay. Some people seem to need that. But it gets to the point where it feels like more people have the need to do the readings than those needing readings done for them. I actually would like to do more kind of learning how to read exercises with people, like have a guest on. My ones I've most enjoyed doing is when I have somebody else on and we do shared readings, and they're not just simply someone in chat will ask a question and I will give them a reading. They're what I see in the cards and the response to the question, and then I ask the other person to pull cards and do theirs, and then we comment on each other's pulls and what we see, or we may try to convince each other or expand on our interpretations. And I think it's a great learning process on how to read card images or how to interpret them. And I also like to open that up to people in the chat, what they see. And I think it's a great learning experience that way too. So it's almost more like a class than it is a service. I guess it's a service in how to read rather than a service in I'm giving you an answer to your question. But I think tarot is a lifelong learning process, and I think we all have opinions and ideas and can always learn more by sharing experiences with others. So there you go. If I can think of any other channels to recommend, I'll maybe list them below. Do you believe there are misconceptions about being a magical pagan YouTuber? I don't think there's any hard and fast rules here. I think more often than not, people view tarot as this magical, mystical thing that predicts the future, but not everybody uses tarot that way. For instance, sometimes, coincidentally perhaps, synchronicities happen that do seem magical or supernatural, but I use tarot more as a self-improvement guide, a determiner in terms of how I might behave. What rules or guidance might I follow in moving through life, daily life? Like, what should I look out for today? Or what do I need to think about when I approach certain situations today? So my readings from myself, my daily readings, are all very general and tend to approach kind of a GPS. It's like, well, which way do I go now? Which choice should I make? And if you see reflection in the cards on the way I have been behaving, should I change course? Or should I look out for that, be more aware of the way I've been behaving and counterbalance that a little bit? So those are the kind of things I use the tarot for, and I think of it more as a psychological guide than a metaphysical one, but there are elements of both there. It's just I tend to lean more towards behavioral guidance with tarot than I do towards predicting your mystical future. What do you like? Oh, and misconceptions about tarot. I think a lot of people, particularly conservative or religious people, just kind of categorize it as influence of the devil or demonic influences or whatever. But I kind of use it, the same way someone might use a Bible for bibliomancy, where you plop your finger down on a passage in the Bible and look to it for spiritual guidance. I kind of do the same thing with the images. I look at the cards and see what those images say to me, or what they make me ask myself. They pose questions to me. I actually would like to do more readings where I'm not giving answers so much as I'm posing questions that the cards are giving me to the person I'm reading for. It's a little bit tricky online because in chat you don't have quick call and response or give and take by text so much as you do in person or in an on-screen dialogue with someone who's guesting. So it's a little trickier to work that out, but my preference in reading is to have a give and take, a back and forth, a conversation about questions and answers. I think that gives better results. Number 14, what do you like and dislike about being on YouTube? I enjoy when I'm able to have a good time and other people visiting me are having a good time, and that we all learn something. That's quite enjoyable. For me, that's a successful degree of entertainment and engagement. When I see things that are same old over and over again, I'm not as interested. Like I said, I do watch a lot of channels that do readings for people, and I don't find that particularly entertaining because it's kind of a one-on-one thing. It's between the reader and the person asking the question, and usually the questions are very general or not very specific, and there's not a lot of give and take. And there's not a lot of shared insight on the interpretation, so I'm not that entertained unless the reading's being done for me, So yeah, I prefer something if there's a reading involved where I'm engaged and involved in the reading, or many people are engaged in interpreting that reading. The other thing I dislike about being on YouTube is, when you get trolls. I knock on wood, I shouldn't even bring it up, but I haven't really encountered too many trolls on my channel. I don't think my channel's particularly popular enough or warrants their involvement. But, there can be really mean-spirited people that come on, and I myself have found sometimes I go on and I feel a little bit jaded, or there's a bit of the devil in me that wants to, spark some provocation or debate, and it's better probably to just walk away and do something more interesting than try to bring that into somebody else's scene or their dialogue or what they're trying to accomplish. Get your own life, do something else, find some other way to entertain yourself. What are some of the challenges and struggles you face creating on this platform, and how do you overcome them? I don't really have a lot. I mean, a lot of people work much harder than I do on stuff. Like I said, my channel is a kind of a warts and all thing. It's like what you see is what you get. I don't edit. if I do or say something, I mistake something, that's reality. That's me in real time, in real life, and I try to acknowledge it. I have to make major mistakes to hit the stop button and start from the beginning and record again. I do everything in one take. I don't do any editing. And it seemed to have worked okay. You know, I'm not perfect. Nobody is. And I accept and acknowledge that. And if you like it, great. If you don't, that's okay too. There's so many channels out there. I have had a couple of technical issues. For some reason, sometimes I forget to check the mic volume, and when I record something, I find, looking back, that it's too low, and I either let it go and let people strain and struggle through it, or I re-record it, do it over again. And what I need to remember, it's like an automated level. I don't even know how this happens. It's something technological on my laptop that seems to set an auto level for the mic, and it's at a lower volume. And so I find that I need to remind myself to make a special point to go in the settings and boost the mic intake volume all the way to the top before I hit the record button in Photo Booth. Now, when I do that on my iPhone, that doesn't seem to be an issue, but I have also had issues on the iPhone where the camera has shut itself off, whether it's gotten bored with me or whatever. You know, anywhere from 7 to 14 minutes in, it shut itself off, or sometimes it looks okay, and then when I see the results, it's blurry, or there's some jiggling by the camera or jumping around. I don't know why it's doing that, and it's very frustrating, and I find it's often made me kind of race through videos, sort of adapt and race through walkthroughs rather than giving them casual, relaxed time. So anyway, I'm going to press on here. I know this is long. We're at half hour already. So yeah, I occasionally have little technical challenges. Number 16, what is your opinion, monetization, paywalls, or other exclusive content, example, Patreon or other membership services? I feel very lucky because the service is free. YouTube is free for me to do. I used to record, again, using YouTube until I discovered StreamYard, which I found much easier to use, and StreamYard I have it connected to go right into YouTube when the recording's done, and that's very easy and very workable for me. They're both free, and I love it, and I don't like commercialization. I understand younger people who are not retired like myself, who have monetary needs. I understand they're making a living to some degree off of monetization on their channels. I don't think they're particularly greedy. They are just younger, and that's their employment, or some portion of their employment. Everybody has bills to pay, and you have to find some way to do it. But as a viewer, I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy having to wait through commercials, having to press skip ad. You don't get that choice so much anymore. Usually the first 2 commercials you're forced to sit all the way through. I think you might be able to pay for a YouTube subscription that does skip ads, but I'm not doing that yet. I guess if I really didn't want the ads, I could pay, for the opportunity to not be forced to watch them. But There you go. But I would say, if you don't really need the money, please don't monetize. It just puts up more barriers, I think, between you and your viewers and subscribers. Number 17, do you have any boundaries on the platform? Why or why not? I only set boundaries for myself in terms of what I've experienced through other channels might be a step too far in terms of controversy or debate. I don't mind good critical discussion, but I don't like when things devolve into us versus them-isms or mob mentality, or people gang up on other people and sort of bully each other in the chats. And yeah, I'm not for that at all. So I try to steer clear of those things on my channel if I can. Sometimes if I want to discuss something provocative, I won't go live. I'll just record my thoughts. I'll try to be as fair and equitable and open-minded as I can, and people may or may not share their comments below the video. If it gets too argumentative, I will turn off the comments or delete the video. Do you have any current goals for your channel? Not particularly, other than I would like to see more people talking about learning, talking about things they've learned about the tarot, or different cards, or different types of images, or different kinds of cards that they've handled, and also about the creative process. I'd love to have a number of card creator guests on and just sort of have a group discussion about the creative process and what's involved in people creating tarot. And hope that would be a supportive thing rather than a defensive, argumentative sort of discussion. Number 19, what are some of the mistakes you've made and how did you fix them? Well, I made the mistake of scheduling monthly things that I tired of or got burnt out of, or started collecting purely for content rather than things I ultimately wanted. So I changed that about my channel and about my collecting. I learned a few things technical wise about the volume control, the image, the lighting, and so forth. Usually I try to think a little bit beforehand before I record something what I want to talk about, but pretty much it's just kind of responding or reacting to an inspiration I had or questions like this. Generally, when I get a VR, I look at all the questions first and figure out my answers. This time, I haven't done that. I'm just doing it firsthand. First time I'm seeing these. And I have seen one other VR, but I haven't watched it all the way through yet. So, number 20. There's 25 of these. We're almost done. What are some of the ways your channel has grown since your first video? I think I've sort of discussed that already. 21, have you ever wanted to quit making videos? Why or why not? Well, I explained that too, I think. I didn't want to, when I was only doing walkthroughs or reviews, and then I didn't want to buy decks I didn't like just to have something to review, I had to change course and figure out some other way to come up with other kinds of content. So there's less of that, and those are less frequent now. But it works better for me. Number 21, have you ever wanted to quit making... Oh, okay. I think I just said that. 22, what do you wish you knew before starting your YouTube channel journey? Maybe the sort of cliquish tendency that channels seem to have. And, you know, YouTube is a free thing for now. And you have to realize it's part of social media. And social media is a blessing and a curse. It connects people and it divides people. And it's great for building as well as destroying communities. And you have to take all that into account. And I think some people see the fun in the idea of joining a community or starting a channel, but don't think about the potential negatives or cons of doing a channel or having a channel, sort of a sense of responsibility or developing a thicker skin, not to be upset by opinions others might have. It's not all going to be, you know, lollipops and roses. You know, you're going to get some people that rail a bit, but mostly people are very encouraging and supportive. At least that's what I've found. Number 23, do you post on any other platforms? If so, what are they? I do, I do YouTube and I do Facebook. I didn't do Facebook for the longest time. I used to be on MySpace. And remember MySpace? I don't even know if it's still around. I haven't checked that account in many years. I didn't join Facebook forever because when it first started out, it was all like reconnecting with old high school acquaintances and friends, and I didn't have any. I was bullied all through school, and there was nobody there I wanted to reconnect with. But then I saw that people were using it for self-promotion. I thought, I might be able to take advantage of this social media to promote things that I'm enjoying and sharing and doing. You know, if I write a book, I can talk about it. If I make some music, I can share that. If I design a tarot deck, I can show or talk about that. I crochet occasionally. I did a whole string of sort of pointy elf type hats, and I've showed and shared all of those. And you can look at my photo albums on Facebook and see. You can see under Robin Crutchfield on Facebook all the many things that are of daily interest to me. Things that scroll by on Facebook, images other people post that I like, I share those. I don't do Instagram. I never got caught up in Instagram because early on I discovered you needed a smartphone for that. I didn't have the right kind. I didn't particularly like the square photographs format. And I thought, well, I'm already sharing photographs on Facebook. What do I need Instagram for? So I think I do have an account. I don't know that I put anything in it. I also have a Pinterest account. I don't know why I have that. I almost never look at it. But things do get shared with me in there. Mostly Victorian or antique illustrations of elves and fairies. I have a fascination with Grimm's fairy tale and folklore. Late 19th century illustration for children's books and so forth. Yeah, so that's pretty much my social media. Twitter, I had a Twitter account that I almost never used. For me, why do I need so many? YouTube and Facebook are plenty for me. They're fine. I do have a Zoom account, but that's kind of a private thing for classes, workshops, and meetings. And I have the StreamYard account to make it easier to record the videos for YouTube. That's it. Where am I? 24. Do you have any advice for those wishing to create a channel? Watch a lot of videos. Observe the pitfalls of others in the community. Decide for yourself what you do and don't want, what you're willing and not willing to accept. And just because you can do a channel doesn't mean you have to do a channel. I mean, if you have something you want to share, you want to get out, fine, but not everybody needs to share. If you don't feel passionate enough to do it, don't let others pressure or push you into creating your own channel. You can be perfectly content as a channel watcher or non-watcher, participant, non-participant, whatever degree of involvement you want. It's up to you. Who will you tag in this video? At the moment, I have no idea. Maybe I'll tag Kelly Bear because I saw it on her channel. Maybe I'll tag Simon and Sandra because they inspire me. I don't know, actually. There are a couple other channels, actually. I want to recommend Blue Crescent Tarot. That's Deanne. She's always had wonderful, informative material and is a very sweet and supportive person. I can't remember now. There's Danny. Danny, I can't think of her last name now. I'm not sure if she has a channel or if she just does online private meetings and things. I want to say Ottenbacher is her last name. I'm not sure. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that, but I'm not going to go back and edit her out. But she's you know, a great supportive person in the community. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if my channel shows people whose videos I tend to watch. If there are some, you can check that out and go check them out. But I must watch, you know, 30, 40 different channels. And not all of them are tarot. I like other kinds of channels too. So anyway, we'll see who I tag. Anyway, this is the longest video I've done in some time other than a live one. So we're going on 49, 50 minutes. I'm going to let you go. And again, get a chance to see Juno Birch. Oh, there's a channel I recommend. Juno Birch's channel. She does makeup tutorials, which I find highly entertaining. And also she does commentary, video game commentaries on playing The Sims, which I don't know much about, but they can be quite funny and entertaining. So yeah, Juno Birch, ultimate queen of the universe for me. I also just saw this past weekend the movie Jules, speaking of aliens. And it may not be for everybody. It's kind of a soft, sensitive, independent film, focused on a couple of topics, one of them having to do with seniors and what it's like to be a senior living in the real world, and also the notion of what it would be like for someone from another planet to visit here and experience what seniors have to go through. So anyway, it was intriguing, and I enjoyed it very much. People into a lot of action and violence and, stuff like that might not like it. It's not fast-paced at all, but it's to some degree thought-provoking and heartwarming, and a couple scenes I might have edited differently, but no spoilers. Check it out if you're so inclined. I wouldn't be surprised if within 2 or 3 months it's available for streaming. You might want to wait for that. I don't find in-theater viewing particularly appealing anymore. That's its own sort of social media kind of thing that's not really geared towards me anymore. But anyway, I ramble. See you all soon. Take care. Bye.